Why, hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings. I'm your hosting guy, Zollin Ironshield. I hope you're having a great and wonderful day in Middle-earth. And this is just a quick little video. Have you ever wondered how popular is Lord of the Rings Online? How popular is any game that you play? Alright, well this is a great site. I'll link it in the description. I think I've talked about it once before, but it's called MMO Populations. And it basically talks about some statistics they have. Now, again, we need to take some things with a grain of salt. Certain games project certain ways of showing statistical data, okay? Some will share things, some won't, so on and so forth. But we're going to talk about it today real quick and go through it and see if we can find our game. So let's just go through it and look for a little bit here. Right off the bat, I'm not going to tell you right this second. Leave a comment. Say, okay, I guess, and then write what number out of 140 you think Lord of the Rings Online is. I'm just curious, and then you can add another comment after if you want, and be like, wow, I thought it was more. Oh, I thought it would be less, something like that, right? Or whatever you want to say. But anyway, this will be kind of fun. Let me know. And then, and also give me, tell me what country you're from. It's kind of fun too, to kind of hear what everyone is from. We have a lot of people from all over the world and everybody's welcome here on Voice of the Rings. So anyway, with that, let's go through it. Obviously they're saying MMOs. I'd like to preface one more thing. This site says MMOs, but there's a lot of games in here I wouldn't really consider like at least a classic MMO. They're kind of like just saying it more like it's a game that has lots of multiplayer. Because MMO stands for Massive Multiplayer Online. Most people know that. But originally, Massive Multiplayer Online games were pretty much only classic MMOs. And classic MMOs are kind of like, World of Warcraft, RuneScape, Lord of the Rings Online, just Star Wars Galaxies back in the day. Now it's Star Wars The Old Republic is the newer, right, MMO that's still going. Things like that, right? Just a couple throughout there, right? There's also some newer ones too, like Albion Online, blah, 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 right? So let's go straight off the bat. World of Warcraft is number one, all right? Baldur's Gate 3, again, not an MMO, classic, right? You can only have a couple players playing it, but obviously a fantastic game, and it is multiplayer in theory, just not like more than like 4 people at once or something, unless you have mods. So it's kind of this one, which I don't even know much about, but I know that it's a popular game. So you can click on things. Let's just real quick for the biggest game. Obviously World of Warcraft is a big one and it's played all over the world. Usually on average, these are all averages they have. Okay, they've got different charts here and averages, but pretty much on average, you know what? I might actually turn off my dark vision here, because if it's off or normal, you might be able to read it better. Yeah, I might be able to read it better for you guys. So it's bright for me, but we'll just do that. All right, so World of Warcraft is estimated to have about 181,000 people on per this month. So this is the whole month. And there's also daily stuff, daily chart here. And then you can also see yearly population, right, when expansions comes out. And they always put a little thing like, what's the MMO's health? Is it good, right? Now, again, this is the top. This is like one of the biggest, right, games. And again, remember, it's gone down its population quite a bit, actually, in the last few years, World of Warcraft. But it's not going anywhere. I always tell people that, like, you get feelings on things like something's going to go somewhere, but there's a lot of people who love this game, right? Rightfully so, it's fun. Came out in 2004. It's like, wow, it's been that long. But I have played a little bit. But there we go. That takes number one spot right now. Then you've got Guild Wars 2. And again, this, by the way, this one here, total players, this is total players or subscriptions. So this means, in theory, people could not be playing anymore, that kind of stuff. You can see one of the months they had a big update. Gosh, look how many people were on that day. That's crazy, right? And you can kind of look. But let's go through it here. We have, a couple other ones. Final Fantasy is number 5. It's in its heyday right now, right? It's doing great, right? Great game, too, of course. But you can kind of see here, it's got 58 million total players and subscribers. And, of course, again, a lot of these games are across, like, massive many countries, too, most of them. Old school RuneScape, which is the newer version of RuneScape, right? It's number 6. Destiny 2 is number 7. And then you start dropping quick. And I mean, these first couple are like all near 100 million. And then when you get to like number 5, now it's at half that. But, that's how it goes with games, right? And again, let me just preface one more thing real fast. We don't know how all these games are showing their statistical data. So there could be some fidgeted numbers to make it look better than it could be. But I think most of this is pretty accurate on the site. It's a close, rough estimate, basically. And you keep going down here. You got World of Warcraft Classic 2, Elder Scrolls Online, 24 million, Star Citizen, Guild Wars 2, 19, right? I'm pointing out a lot of the MMOs that are classic MMOs in my mind. Lost Ark, New World, right? 18, Black Desert Online, Star Wars The Old Republic, right? 12, right? EVE Online. And remember, there's 140 games on this list. Just keep that in mind, okay? So, and again, remember, a couple 100,000 players is a good population still for any game. And these are all in the millions, okay? So we keep going down. We got this. We got... oh, look at... there's Lord of the Rings Online. 35 out of 140. Mind you, I was quite surprised when I found this out a few years ago. I was thinking Lord of the Rings Online was a smaller game. I thought it had a core population base and, like, it wasn't going anywhere. But I did not realize it was as big as it is, okay? So Lord of the Rings Online, out of 140 games... it is really, really big, okay? And like, you know, Blade Soul, and you can find Archage, Terra Online. These are big games, too. Guild Wars 1, the original. Dragon Fighter Online, Final Fantasy 11, which is an older version of, I believe it was a multiplayer, too, from what I remember. Marvel Heroes is another big game a lot of people really like. You can really go down here and kind of see some really big games. I'm sure you see some yourself if you're looking while I scroll. Of games you know. Aeon is a game I know that a lot of people play. Bless Online, I've seen a lot of people playing that game. EverQuest 2. EverQuest, it's 79. That's impressive. It still has so many people who play this game. But that's a huge population score. So let's just use this number, 79 out of the list of 140. 415,000, right? Total players and subscribers, right? And then we go back up to 35th place LOTRO, and it's got almost 5 million. All right. So Lord of the Rings Online, again, did you get the guess? Did you get it? I gave you like 4 minutes. The Lord of the Rings Online is estimated to have about 3,625 players per day this month. This changes, right? It tries to change. That's pretty good, right? Now, granted, we just have the new Legendary servers. I don't know how fast this updates. So I don't know if this is like older, like a few weeks old, or if it's pretty close. But again, this site has seemed pretty accurate to me. But again, total players and subscriptions is almost 3.5 million. It's a pretty healthy game. You go down here, it says MMO's health, good. The population of Lord of the Rings Online is increasing. In the last 30 days, it has increased by 1% or a point of 1%. But again, the point is, we're going up again. Now, it's talking about in the last couple of days, all right? It actually had a very big swing when I looked 3 or 4 months ago when we had the big expansions and stuff. But the fact that Lord of the Rings Online is 35 out of 140 games, and some of these games are big. Like, even Stellar Blade is in here, and it's like number 110 or something. I don't remember. And that's a brand new game, and some people really like that game. I haven't played it. But, and then there's Star Conflict. Some of these are, like, really big names. Vanguard, I remember people loved Vanguard back in the day. And, by the way, if your game is down here that you play and it's really low, it doesn't mean it's dying. It's just saying this is out of the top 140 games. There's other games underneath it that have smaller populations, too, right? In all, reality here. But it's just like Ashen Empires. Like, they're like, some of these I don't know some of these smaller games. And you can, like, for example, this one. Let's see the very bottom place they have here, right? So, bad. Right? The health of of course, because it's kind of like flatlining, right? With players. It's surprising it's still around, though, right? So again, a lot of these too are ones that are managed with servers too. Most of these, you notice, they have some way to connect and play. But like Atlantic, I remember this, Atlantic Online. Like, unfortunately, this one's saying it's struggling a little bit. But I mean, it's still got, under 1,000 players a day. It's, it's fine, but it's a little bit on the ouchy side there for those people who play that game. But again, and a lot of these get updates all the time and stuff like that as well. But I just thought that was kind of cool. I thought I wanted to bring it to everyone's attention. So you guys kind of think about it and see this as a resource. But just to see, and by the way, I'd like to point out Lord of the Rings Online, I believe, the last time I looked, was closer to like 39th or 40. So it's actually gone up. So like Blade and Soul is actually not as much as it. You know, Ash, it's almost the same as Ash in Creation, which has had betas out and it's been hyped for many, many years. They've been working on it. I mean, it might be cool. And also, here's another one, Tower of Fantasy. This game was huge when it came out for the last few years, and it's the same population pretty much as LOTRO. In fact, it has 1,500 less players this month per day. So, like, you know what I'm saying? And you can kind of see it. It has kind of blooped over the years. So it started with a pretty nice yearly population this year of average players online, and it's not terrible, but 6,000 is only a small, I mean, its health is still good, but its growth is not nearly as much as LOTRO's growth. Right? Well, it's tiny, we're talking tiny percents there. But the bottom line is Lord of the Rings Online is in a good spot. I just want everyone to know that. And this is kind of cool information. Remember, this game came out in 2007, right? And then it kind of shows you the genres and, again, daily population, subscriber base, and they got some information about it. It's kind of cool. And it kind of shows you things that are similar to it, which I will say this is a very fair chart. They put in here popular games that are, I think, basically like LOTRO with the genre. World of Warcraft, Old RuneScape, Final Fantasy, Guild Wars 2, Elder Scrolls Online, RuneScape, EVE Online, and Black Desert Online. These are all more classic-y MMO-style games. So I would say those all kind of fit the genre. And again, Lord of the Rings Online is very its own thing. It is definitely a classic MMO, like tab targeting style gameplay. I know that's not for everybody, but it's a great game if you like Lord of the Rings and exploring the biggest world. And one other thing I want to point out in this video is Lord of the Rings Online is one of the biggest games in the world. So this doesn't show size of games, but you know what? In this video, let me just show you. Let me show you one sec. All right, I found the video, and I'll link it for you if you want to give it a like and check it out. But it's called Video Game Map Size Comparison. So it is a couple years older. So I'd like to point out LOTRO is a lot bigger now. This is 4 years old. It's had 2 big expansions in this time. That's added a lot of land. But anyway, you can kind of go through this and see all of it. And I don't want to just give you a little scan here. So they show you all the different sizes and their scales, and it goes bigger, bigger, bigger. And they show a lot of video games, a lot of ones, Skyrim, all this other ones. And you get near the end here, okay? And then I believe it is right here somewhere at the end. So they basically show you all the different sizes of the worlds. And this is what I'm always telling you guys about. And again, remember, so Guild Wars Nightfall, all right? And then we've got the Lord of the Rings Online. This is 4 years ago. It's 77,700 kilometers squared in area of play. It has added a lot of land from this time, okay? So I would guess it's more near, I'm trying to remember now. It's definitely bigger, a lot bigger. So then you can see here's like the Elder Scrolls. Okay, so I would actually say this is the Elder Scrolls 2 Dragonfall, which is a really, really big map, right? Lord of the Rings Online is probably closer to the size of this now. So I don't know, has it surpassed this in size? It's added a lot of land. It's added like probably almost double, which would be, yeah, it's getting close to this size. So it's pretty much almost, and then according to this video, there's only 2 more things larger than this, and it's the infinitely scaling Minecraft, right? It says this, but in theory, it could infinitely scale. That's why I say that. And the infinitely scaling No Man's Sky. So those are the only other 2. So there's one game that has a slightly bigger map 4 years ago, which I think LOTRO is pretty close to the same size now as that. So that's just a really cool side note about Lord of the Rings Online. It's a really big world to explore. That's why I showed you that. And they do a really good job of giving you lots of ways to travel around quickly and teleport and stuff. So you don't feel like it's not going to be like, ah, you know what I mean? Back in the day when it first came out, it could feel a little bit overwhelming, even when the world was much smaller, because there weren't all the expansions of land. But now that we have pretty much the majority of Middle Earth, meaning you can go from like Forest Shell and like the Shire and Thorns Hall, all the way down, if we're going left to right, down to the bottom of the map, to like Harad, right? Or at least you can't quite get to Harad, but you can get to the right Umbar area. And then you go all the way up to the Iron Hills and all the way down to Anthelas. Not quite the corner, so pretty much of almost a perfect the square. But anyway, I just think it's cool. So that's what I wanted to show you today in this video. Did you enjoy it? I enjoyed it. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. I feel like little bit of bragging, right? Lord of the Rings Online's cool. And just to kind of dispel any rumors about the fact Lord of the Rings Online is like a really tiny game and it's dying or something. That is not the case. It's anything but the case, actually. It's actually the other way around. It's clearly one of the biggest games. 35 out of 140 of the games that are even shown online, right? That are even online games at all. So it's doing really well in that area. So, and again, it's funny how the top like 40 or 50 games, you kind of know them all. And then like, Blade and Soul, I know is a big game too, but still it has 1 million less subscribers and players than LOTRO. And how's its daily players? Under 1,000, which is still a good game. It's nothing wrong with it. The health of the MMO is good. But Archage, remember these are averages. So when new expansion comes out, things go whoop and go way up too. But all these things are averages, right? With these information. And yeah, well, with that, my friends, you have a great day in Middle-earth. I will see you all in the next episodes of Voice of the Rings. Thanks to my Patrons. You want to join our Discord? We play on the server CrickHollow on LOTRO, and I do a lot of other Lord of the Rings coverage of replicas and lore and lots of cool stuff. And we like Lord of the Rings here, and we stay happy and positive. You're having fun? I'm having fun. Have a great day, my friends. Again, go to voiceoftherings.com. You can social media tab, always join our Discord, and leave a comment. What do you think? What's your favorite game? Right? And what is your favorite Lord of the Rings thing if you're a Lord of the Rings fan? Right? All right. Again, I'm a gamer too. Even though my channel focuses on Lord of the Rings games and Lord of the Rings content, I've played lots of other video games. So, leave a comment. I'd love to hear what your favorite games are. See you guys. You can list them off if you want. Have a great day.